Okay.
Yes, no,
I can see, I can hear.
I can hear. I'm good.
Okay, I see everyone.
Can't hear.
Can you hear me this time?
Yes.
Say something, Miriam.
Hello, hello, hello,
I
hello.
can't hear you.
Oh, for God's sake.
I got it.
Is there something on the volume on your computer, Penny?
There was. Thank you, Mary David.
I'm sure you looked at that already, but
I did.
Oh, now can you hear us, Penny?
I think it was a me fail. I think I'm using a different laptop to do this, and I failed to see something there, but I'm just going to admit everybody. Okay.
All right. Can you hear me with my headphones on?
I can.
Yes.
Great. All right. It's going to work. It's
I
going
need
to work.
Take a deep breath for just a minute
Deep
here.
breaths. Never fun when these things happen.
No, I got to say, I don't really love Zoom.
Mhm.
We do not have Beth tonight because she wasn't
Right.
feeling well. So we won't hold things up. So as soon as Scott, are you here? Oh, still
Good.
connecting.
Connecting. Well, Penny, I remember the time I had a fail and I had to be muted for the whole thing because I was causing everyone to echo and I
Right.
had to do all my votes like this.
Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Well, there was the first time that I was hosting as chair and Zoom wasn't working and we had public hearings and I was just feeling
It's
terrified.
very
And
stressful.
and I was, in looking back, I think I did everything right. I think it was just Zoom was being Zoom. All right, we should get started then because we're all together now. And I noticed there's a Gil here. I don't know who Gil is. Does other people know who Gil is? It's nice if people can identify themselves for the minutes.
Hi, sorry, I'm Jill. I live in Shutesbury.
Oh, hi, Jill.
Hi,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, well, let's call the meeting at 7:03. We will not have Beth here tonight because she wasn't feeling well. We have a hearing at a public meeting at 7:30, but first let's go through some business. Let's consider the minutes from September 9th. And so
I didn't have any corrections.
Yeah, I think it's fine with the few edits that were made.
I think there are a few misspelled. So I thought in the interest of
Yeah.
being
So
consistent
so you made the corrections for the misspellings, right?
in the edits that I sent back to you. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So that's I think the minutes of record.
Yes. Okay, let me just double check what I sent. I think that the other issue, I think we covered the quorum issue, and then we had the RDA. All I think was all pretty clear. Okay, so I think we're good. So I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as amended. Do I have a second?
I second.
Right. Okay. David,
Aye.
DeFont, aye. Harrington
Aye.
and Khan.
Aye.
Okay. I Scott.
I like that enthusiastic eye.
Very nice. So first on our list of to-dos, Lisa, sometimes we kind of do things a little out of order because we're tied to certain schedules for hearings. And so we just get things in around, but we want to introduce our new land use clerk, Lisa Stratford. Welcome. Yay.
Hey, Shutesbury.
We have somebody. Yay.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I have lived in Leverett for most of my life. I have been the town clerk in Leverett for 27 years and the clerk to the select board for probably 20.
Oh, my.
I have 2 grown children who live locally, and I'm happy to give this a go with you guys.
Crossing the border.
Yes.
And I will say on, just to follow up on what Lisa said, she said to me today when we met this afternoon that she's considering reinstituting office hours, and they would be Monday and Thursday from 2 to 5 p.m. So a slightly different schedule than Linda, but I think in many ways a great schedule. So
Yeah.
Just to think about things as you may need things from her.
Thank you.
That sounds great. Lisa, before the meeting ends tonight, let's just find a time for checking in on Monday when you're
Okay.
back in the office. But
All right.
so Lisa will be checking emails twice a week. I will be also monitoring the traffic and work with Lisa to figure out who's going to respond and how. And Penny's available and Linda Scott are available to give some support to Lisa. She's getting oriented, which is fantastic. And you're coming in with a lot of skills already that we're really happy that you have.
And some that I don't, as Penny demonstrated today. So I'll be relying on support.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll be great. Okay, so let's move on. And, Lisa, I just want to encourage you as we're going along, if something is unclear and you need to ask questions, you're a part of the meeting, and please speak up. And
okay.
Now Penny, are you going to be letting people in right now? Is that the plan?
Yes, but there are more people that need to come in.
I don't know.
I've got, let me just.
I can't see.
Again. I'm sorry, I'm working on a little tiny laptop. I don't see anyone who wants to be in who's not.
If you can make somebody else co-host, they could also, someone else could monitor.
If I were clever enough to do that.
It's not working tonight.
Well,
That's weird.
I know, I've done it before, so I feel like I'm just having a bad night.
It's okay.
Anyway.
All right.
So the next agenda item is something I put on, which is EDEP handbooks and the new commissioner orientation. Have people who requested handbooks been contacted by Lindsay? I think it's Matucci at MACC. We're all set and everyone should have access at this point.
Right. I got an email saying that I did.
Okay, good.
I did as well. Thank you.
Good.
It's going to be very helpful.
It will be very helpful, and it's great because it's a searchable document, which makes it really super duper. And I know many of the current commissioners have done a number of the MACC trainings. Scott, have you done the new commissioner orientation yet?
I have not.
Okay, I just arranged for Lisa to do that, thinking that would give her a good overview of what her responsibilities with the commission are, but I think it'd be great for you to do as well. I will contact Lindsay and ask her to be in touch with you about, I guess, inviting you to take part in, it's an online.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's going to be very helpful.
Is there anyone else on the commission who hasn't done that?
I've done it.
Yeah, I think most of you have. And I'm guessing Beth may have done that in her previous.
Yeah, or she probably won't need to.
Yeah, she probably won't need
She
to.
could probably teach it to us.
Yeah. Okay.
While we're on the topic, though, maybe this is a good time. I had just submitted a request. I'm finishing up the fundamentals certification through MACC. You go to a bunch of these seminars, you get credit for them, and then you get a certificate. So anyway, so I'm finishing it this fall, and I submitted a request for reimbursement. So I am asking the commission to consider authorizing the clerk to reimburse me. We usually do this for these trainings and conferences.
Right, and just for all of you in general, it's always good to ask. Of course, the commission is wanting you to do these trainings, but it's good to ask before you take the plunge.
Well, I've always gotten reimbursed for mine.
Yes, and this fall, there is the fall conference. So there's a whole bunch of workshops. So people, I would say, if anybody wants to, let us know if you wanted to go to any of the workshops. They're all on Zoom. Most of them are. Anyway, so somebody want to make a motion to approve? I don't remember how much it was for.
Make a motion to approve reimbursing Miriam for her MACC classes.
Yeah.
I second.
I think it was $165. Thank you. Okay. David,
Aye.
DeFont, abstain. Harrington,
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, next. The Seifert appeal of 35 South Laurel Drive. So, Penny circulated the appeal, and we had a letter from DEP that they want to come out next Thursday to do a site visit. They proposed doing it at 1 o'clock. I emailed them back because I have to be somewhere at 2, so I could do a noon meeting. They said that would be fine as long as it was okay with everybody else. So it would depend on the GRIPCOs as well. Would a noon meeting work for commissioners who want to come?
I could do either.
I believe so.
Okay. I think especially those of us who went on the initial site visit, it would be great for us all to be there to answer any questions.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be planting trees out in Westfield and Springfield that day. I don't think I'll be able to get back in time.
Okay.
And I'm out of town all next week. So
Okay. All right. So at least we'll have me, Mary, and Robin there. That would be great. I will email him back and let him know that we can all make that time. I could go to 12:30 if they can do that, but I think 1 is cutting it a little too short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say something quickly on that? front?
Yes.
So having one of our determinations being appealed like this is a very unusual thing. I can't remember in the 20-something years that I served on the commission that this ever happened before. So I did call Mark Stinson and just ask him what the process is. And he wrote me back, and I'm just going to summarize quickly what he said, since I think it's important for the commission to understand what the process is at this point. So once the appeal takes place, the case is taken out of our hands and goes into the hands of DEP. And David Cameron, who is heading up the group, is Mark Stinson's boss. And what Mark said to me was that they do a paperwork review to make sure this is a valid appeal. I guess in the past, long ago, they would get comments like, I'm appealing this because I don't like my neighbor. And that is not a valid appeal. And then they schedule the on-site visit, which is what is happening now. And then the analyst, who is David Cameron, reviews all the materials, listens to both parties, asks for additional information, and he may ask for the minutes of the meeting. And then he goes back to the office and looks at the regs and looks at the paperwork and usually issues a superseding determination of applicability. And DEP hates to do this because it's very time consuming, but there you have it.
Well, I think that, Mark was consulted on this project before we issued the determination and felt like we were going in the right direction. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to
Prevail.
Our decision was going to prevail. I think,
Miriam, can I ask you, since we're talking about it, you had sent kind of the follow, the state better understanding. I think we were proposing some, time limits perhaps on how long is our permission good for? And that was a question. And you sent some follow-up information, I think, from Mark in the state that I just wanted to make sure I understood what he was saying. It sounded like there could be some temporary provisions put into those. It's not a forever and ever um, granting of for permission for the activity. That there is a limit to how long.
Yeah, I don't remember what I shared, but I know that if it's a project that's, creating a permanent structure, then you have 3 years to act on the determination. If you don't act on it, it becomes void. But once you've created whatever you're creating, it's a permanent structure, you don't have to come back to get it re-permitted. In the case of a temporary, I'm not sure. Does anyone have an answer to that?
I'd have to go back and look at what he had written, but I had interpreted it as that there were some, that the commission could impose, temporary limits on some of the things that were granted, that they're not
Yeah.
forever when we grant them.
And we didn't do that
Yeah.
in the order. Maybe we could have, and maybe that's a good learning opportunity for us that in the future, if it's a situation that we're concerned about the outcome. I think that we did ask for an annual report. And so, if we have concerns based on the annual report, then I think we could have a conversation with the landowner. I don't know that we can rescind the determination, but we could, possibly try and negotiate something with them.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that we revisit our determination of what we did here. It was just a learning opportunity for, as we look at some of the things that could be more precedent, where we think there could be cumulative impacts.
Yeah.
That over time, like this one issue isn't such a big thing, but if 100 people are doing it, well, now it's something we want. Right. I think it gave us some wiggle room. So you just prompted my memory on that.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't think of it either, actually.
Can I just say something to it, Janice?
Yep. Go to it.
I would just say, make sure you tell DEP, David Cameron, that when you have the site visit, because they issued a decision on an appeal of our order of conditions in Hadley. And really, we felt stabbed us in the back, and we weren't allowed to go on the site visit because the homeowner wouldn't allow it. So we really had little voice in it. And we feel that they really stepped back and they just listened to what the homeowner said and basically repeated it to us over the phone. So I think it's important to get your reasoning into them.
Yes. They
They have a whole new decision. They don't have to do anything that you said, or they can do everything, or they can do more. So it's weird. And then secondly, depending on what their decision is, if they support you, fine. If they don't support you, there's still the question of, well, what about the bylaw? I mean, wasn't the decision under the bylaw as well? And this isn't an appeal of the bylaw. That has to go to, I think it's the state court. So it gets really messy, but just to be thinking into the future, like what in the world do we have to do next? Or it's up to the applicant. I mean, the person appealing it, actually, whether they want to appeal the bylaw. But if they don't, then this decision just stands however DEP issues it.
All right, so maybe that's something we'll visit down the road, depending on the outcome of all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, my sense was that the landowner, the Gribcos, were okay with our conditions.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So we've got Emily Stockman's email from 9/14/21. And this, remind me, is this the email about doing the review if the ANRAD is going to be resubmitted, Penny?
Correct.
Yes. So
And
Emily
I believe I
emailed.
sent that out to everyone.
Yep.
So Emily emailed that she did not feel comfortable doing the site review while the original Mass DP file number is operative, that she wanted to wait until it had been resubmitted and there was a new file number, which, you know, is, she can, that's her line in the sand. So I don't know that we can do much about this.
Well, you know, I would say, I think this corroborates what Janice Stone said at the last meeting, that the cleaner, perhaps more legal way to do this is to withdraw the current ADRAD without prejudice, resubmit, and just have Emily do the review. Well, I think that's when Emily would be willing to do the review, was after it's resubmitted. So, you know,
Maria's here.
Right.
Maria, do you want to acknowledge or kind of unmute if you're there?
Let me just see if I need to unmute her.
She's here.
Nice to have gotten a heads up that Emily felt that way before just now.
You did not know?
I did not know. I did
Oh.
not receive this email from anyone.
I'm sorry.
We just learned it this week.
I thought she had basically said that at the last meeting, though. That was my gist of the direction that Emily was talking about at the last meeting about this. No?
No, we all got really
Okay.
frustrated at the last meeting that it got brought up after it had already been continued.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So-
So I think she was having misgivings, but there was the issue of the fact that we had already continued the hearing.
And I think she going to go back to her boss to make sure what they felt about it.
She doesn't have a boss.
Her boss.
I think
Her
Emily
boss.
is her boss.
Yeah.
Her boss.
Has anyone actually had a chance to talk with Mark Stinson about this? Because I have not had an opportunity to reach out to him to ask about the best way to approach it procedurally, and I'm wondering if anyone else has had an opportunity to do that. I respect feelings. I really would like to know what EP says to do, because it's a very just bizarre situation.
It is an unusual situation. I don't know if Mark spoke to that particular issue. I know I asked Mark, what do we do with an order of condition or the determination, an ORAD, I mean, when it's not going to be resubmitted? Because, you know, if you're going to withdraw and resubmit, then there'll be a new file number and that will take precedence over anything else. But with the Baker Road project, you guys are not resubmitting. And so it means there's this ORAD sitting there with Mass DEP that isn't valid. I actually had drafted a letter, which I wanted to review with the commission tonight, just to kind of put this in writing to communicate to everybody our understanding of the circumstance. But Mark didn't have any guidance about it. He said he had never heard of a situation where an ORAD was issued and then later found not to be valid. So we're trendsetters.
Don't have issues with that, because
what?
No, most people don't care so much because there's no project to.
Right. Right. So, you know, it just, my concern was, you know, we can write a letter, we can put it in our minutes, send you guys a letter, just summarizing our discussion, just, you know, kind of to close the loop and, you know, kind of make sure all the communication's on the same page and put it in the file. But we can't, I don't know how we can't withdraw an ORAD. So I wondered whether we can, I imagine we can send the letter to DEP and DEP can just have that in their files and it'll be what it is.
Well, we said if the status changes, then they will resubmit, but because they're not planning to do anything else at that site, they don't want to think more cost.
Right. Right. It's just if somebody were looking through state records, requested the records from the state and saw that there was an ORAD and there was nothing indicating in the files. So I think our sending a letter is appropriate, just to put DP on notice in writing about this situation. But I don't know that there's anything more we can do about that.
If you wouldn't mind giving us an opportunity to look at it before it goes in, just to make sure that it's like accurately representing what we're do, that would be really great.
Well, I was hoping we would review it tonight if we have time. So we could put it up on the screen and you can take a look at it, Maria. And if you want to see a draft of it, that's certainly fine. So we have 4 minutes.
I have a quick one.
Okay, I was just thinking, do we want to look at this
some more?
Well, I was just thinking, do we want to look at this letter quickly and then we can move
I
on?
need more than 4 minutes for that.
Okay. What else is your quick one then?
The quick one is the next in the list of updates.
January Hills.
We are about to receive a request for a certificate of compliance for a project that was done back in 1994. And I have been searching for the file. I have not found it yet, but we also have not actually received the formal request for the certificate. But that will be something, I know some of you have been on a site visit for a certificate before. So basically this is a project that was done under a notice of intent and an order of conditions. The order of conditions were attached to the deed. The homeowner is refinancing the house and wants to take the order of conditions off the deed. And so 27 years later, they're asking for a certificate of compliance. And I think I figured out where it might be in town hall, but the first time I looked, I couldn't find it. But I'm telling you all of this in part because when the lawyer in Amherst called the Concom office about this, she asked what our fee was for certificates of compliance, and just food for thought, Amherst charges $50. And it is possible to change regs for your bylaw in the context of a meeting if you post it. So something to think about. These are often quite time consuming.
Even if the NOI was under the WPA instead of the bylaw?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and in Hadley, we charged $100 for each request for certificate of compliance. In Granby, it's $100 if the order of conditions was issued in the last 3 years, and $150 if it's older than that. And it's true that yeah, the older ones are a real pain in the neck. I mean, I had stuff from the 80s that I had to try to dig out and find. But the other thing is that, you know, in some cases, people were supposed to have planted, or like I say, a row of blueberry bushes. And maybe they did, but they all died. Well, I hold them to it and said, okay, you know, it's not complete until you took so long. Maybe the bushes died, but tough luck. You know, you have to have the line of bushes, you know, it's required in your order of conditions. And so sometimes it hurts people not to have done it a whole lot earlier.
Right. All right. So, we
no more on that now, but just if you want to make that change, you can do it in the context of a meeting if you post it.
Penny, have you sent us what the original order of conditions were? Do we know what they are?
I found the original.
Oh, you know, because wouldn't that be attached to the deed? Would the landowner have that?
Oh, the order of conditions is attached to the deed, but the order of conditions without the notice of intent, you can't really make heads or tails out of it. So we need to find the notice before you can do a site visit.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep us posted.
To be continued.
And that'll be a fun field trip for Lisa.
Well,
to learn.
She and I went over earlier in the week, on the first effort to find it.
Okay.
So
all right, it is 7:30. So we have the 32 Leverett Road Benton install septic system, public RDA. And I see we have Chris Stoddard here. Chris, are you here for this? And Eric
Yes, I
Bet-
am.
And Eric Benton. Hi, welcome.
I don't, oh, is Eric here?
I see
I didn't
him.
know
I
who
don't
he
know if
was.
he's
Oh, yep, he's here. Yep.
he's here. He's muted. Okay. Well, let's usually we begin with letting the applicant kind of explain the project to us, and then we'll go over the site visit.
Okay, so basically what we have here is we have a 1 acre, 1.1 acre approximate parcel. It has a, I'd call it a failed septic system, but we actually don't even know where it is. It's non-existent. So the building originally had a pipe just leading out the backyard into the ground. So what we are proposing here is a new septic system, fully Title V compliant. We've done the test pits. We had to send the soil sample out to get a sieve analysis because the groundwater table was relatively high. We've since received those results. We went out there and did a topographic survey, located all of the existing wells. There are a number of them in the area shown on the plan. And we've sited the septic system outside the 100-foot zone of all of those. And we are just outside your 50-foot buffer of the wetland on the abutting property. We weren't able to get outside the 100-foot, but we have stayed outside the 50-foot with the system. We are also proposing a new well in the front of the property because this house is actually served by the existing well that's behind the house that actually feeds the fire station. So we need to get this house off of the fire station's well onto its own dedicated well. Silt fence and erosion control will be around the project. The existing stone wall actually works as a really good erosion control measure anyways, because it's been there for 100 years and it has a little berm of dirt in front of it. That's just natural, but we are going to put silt fence and hay bales up as well. I think it's a fairly straightforward project. I guess I can answer any questions you guys have.
Are you able to screen share you don't have a digital copy of the site plan, do you?
I'm trying to. Unfortunately, I'm actually sitting on my phone because my internet at my house currently completely went out on me. So I'm using my phone. I apologize. I wish
Penny,
I don't have a way to do
I
that.
can do it, Penny, if you
Sure.
enable me.
Okay. Let's see if I can enable you. Okay.
It says I'm still disabled.
I think I did it.
I can find it. Here it is. Okay.
Okay, I've got multiple. There you go.
Okay. So what are we looking at here? Where's the road?
Well, I
It's
apologize.
to the-
You know, it's a 24 by 18 plan, and I tried to scan the portion of it that was most relevant. So,
So the road is actually to the top of the page.
Okay.
It's out of the
here.
view, but it's up in there. Yep.
Okay.
So the south to the west, which is to the left, is the fire station. To the south is the well, which is down. Actually, this kind of orients nicely. Down is south, and that's the well closest to the stone wall. That's the one that feeds the fire station and this building. So,
and the yellow line is I believe the 50-foot.
Correct. The yellow line farthest to the right is the wetland line. The 50-foot is the middle one, and the 100-foot is the one all the way to the left.
Do you guys know whether for the well water, this is kind of an aside, but because I know you're talking about the septic system, whether you'll be impacted by the plume?
We don't believe so. Our intent is to put a case-driven well in, drilled well. So we're assuming the solid steel casing will go down far enough to keep the salt, or I believe it's a salt plume, right?
Well, there was a gasoline plume as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm very 100. I mean, I can't be 100% confident, but I'm incredibly confident that we won't have an impact there because we are doing a case-driven well.
There was an underground storage tank that was discovered that I think they couldn't remove it because it's under the fire department building. And there was several years of bioremediation that was required. And I think it may still be monitored. They still have monitoring wells around the
I
fire
know,
station.
yeah. I was talking to the chief when I was out there doing the survey because I needed him to show me where the wells were. And he did tell me that DEP was just out there and had sampled their well, their drinking water well. So I don't know if that was the reason, but I did know that he did tell me that DEP does come out frequently to test.
Yeah, they have the environmental engineering plan for that bioremediation is on file in town hall. And if the new landowner is interested, they could take a look at it, find out the status of it.
Okay, that's good to know.
They get annual reports from the status. It's a multi-year process, but I think they're at the tail end of it. It's been 10 years now.
So Chris, this is Penny. I have a question, just referencing what's what on the map. So I see the stone wall, and just to the left of that is a line with little circles. Is that the erosion control?
Correct. Yeah, that's the hay bales and silt fence.
And I'm sure that's not the big plan, but when I scanned it, it was cut off.
Oh, yes. Actually, the wording, that's half that says contract, and it stopped. That says contracted to place hay bales and silt fence prior to starting work.
Okay.
So there is a note on the big plan that does say that.
Would you consider erosion socks instead of the silt fence?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have an issue with that. I prefer it, but some towns are different. So I usually I hedge my bets, and I always err on the side of caution and go with silt fence. But yeah, I have no issues with that.
I would wonder more about the hay, which can bring in invasive seeds, and you're right next to a nice forested wetland there. Mm-hmm. Or do you get the seedless hay, or?
We can do those compost filter socks too. That I can't remember the name of the company, but that are basically
biodegradable.
Yeah, biodegradable. We could do that as well.
Usually those have you can get them with straw.
Yeah, you can get them straw, or you can get them basically a combination of seed with bark mulch, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Well, I think in general, I think we've kind of leaned in the direction of erosion socks with straw or something like that, as opposed to hay, because of the invasive issues.
Like a straw wattle. I think which is about 10-inch straw wattle is usually what the other one I would spec out too.
Mm-hmm.
Probably fine, especially since you have the stone wall there as sort of backup.
Yeah. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, no matter, we could have rains worse than we ever did. That stone wall is about 4 feet tall, 3 feet tall. There's none of the soil would ever migrate into that wetland ever. So, but yeah, I mean, it's absolutely, having an extra layer of protection doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. we can spec straw wattles, or you can put if you wanted to just drop a condition on the RDA, that would be fine too.
Yeah, I mean, we could put a condition in for an erosion sock of your choice but no hay, unless it's seedless.
Yep. No, that's totally reasonable.
Any other questions or comments? Who did this? Anybody want to go over the site visit from the commission? I wasn't at the site visit. So Mary, were you and Robin there?
Wasn't there.
I was there.
I was there.
Okay. What would you guys like to share?
Mary, you weren't there, Mary?
No.
I was there.
Scott
was there. Yeah.
Scott, you have a turn, Scott.
I don't have any more to add. I think the project proponent summarized it well. It seemed pretty straightforward, and I didn't have any concerns with what was being proposed.
And the property is really flat, so we didn't have any real concerns about erosion.
Yeah, I can't imagine, the property's so flat. It's like the engineer is telling you, you'd have to have 18 inches of rainfall to top over that stone wall.
Well, is there any more information people feel we need in order to do this? When are you planning on doing the project? Once you're
As soon as we can. He's looking to finish the renovations on the house as soon as possible.
so this fall would be the plan?
I reached out to Jim Sen, the excavator. He said early October.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one more question. if
So
that's
this is,
possible.
you're
Go
the,
ahead.
you folks are the, oh, sorry.
Janice, go ahead.
That's right. I was just wondering, so you said you had to deal with the groundwater. It looks like it's a raised system. So how high above the water table is this tank or field or whatever going to be?
So the bottom of the septic system is 4 feet, which is minimum by Title V code. So we have a 4-foot separation of groundwater.
And that was done with a test, infield test? Of
Correct.
the-
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we did two deep holes. We got down a little over almost 6 feet deep, and we determined where high groundwater was at 24 inches. Charlie Kanicki was a witness, the Board of Health witness for us.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yep.
This is Penny. I have a question about the well. Do you typically dig some sort of, I'm not sure the right terminology, some sort of a trench for the,
Yes. A sump pit.
what do they call it? A slurry containment pit?
Yeah. A sump. Yeah. Or a sump pit. Yes. The contractor will dig the sump pit prior to the
I guess
drilling.
I would ask that it be as far from the wetland as possible, as opposed to closer.
Yeah, we would. So I would put it on what would be the left-hand side or the west side of the property. I mean, it has to be right near the drill rig, but we'll put it on the west side. We can even throw a row of straw socks around it and direct the flow. There really won't be a lot of flow, and it'll stay in the sump pit. But we can direct that. Make sure we put socks around that too, just to prevent any possible migration towards the wetland.
That sounds great. Okay.
Now,
Any other?
I have one other question for
Sure.
Mr. Gatton. So I don't have a copy of your legal ad or proof of your
Yes,
mailing
here is
letter.
my,
Sent that to me? Did you email that to me?
oh,
It needs
I'm
to
sorry,
go
I did not
closer.
email it, but I can.
Okay,
I can email everything to you. I have proof of the, so when I mailed out to the abutters, I hadn't not known I was supposed to get receipts, so I just put them in a regular mail and put them in the mailbox in front of the Shutesbury post office.
Mhm.
So I signed an affidavit basically saying, I did send those letters out. So you would need me to scan that and get that to you as well?
Yes, that's what I asked you to do.
Yep. Yep, I have that. Yep.
Okay.
So I do have that with me
Because
here,
we probably,
like physically here with the paper.
Okay, so we can't really close the hearing until we have those things in hand.
To email them to you? Okay, one second.
If you email them to me right now, I think we can move forward.
What is the email address?
Concom, CONCOM,
Okay, yep, I see it.
.org.
all right. We have to wait till that gets received, but do commissioners feel we have enough information to close the hearing?
I do.
This is,
Yes.
yes, I feel the same way. I think.
Okay. All right. We'll wait till Penny confirms that we have that, and then we'll have a motion to close the public meeting.
And for conditions, I have down the slurry pit will be located on the west side of the property as far from the wetland as possible, and there will be an erosion sock around it. You'll use a compost sock for erosion control. And then do you want to put in the standard conditions that work.
Yes.
Do you want to do a site visit to inspect the erosion control?
I think that would be appropriate.
And I think they'd said erosion sock of choice, but not hay,
Right.
Right.
because we're talking about
You
possible.
want you want to open up a Word doc for us, Penny, and we can go over the conditions and vote on them?
Sure, I have them sort of,
And I want to apologize. I think I was going to draft some, and this has been a crazy week for me. I have not had a moment free or any sleep.
Oh,
I am taking my granddaughter to preschool every morning, so I am up at 6 o'clock.
oh my goodness.
Yes. No sleep, no rest for the weary.
So
But
I
today
just
was-
sent the affidavit. I'm
Okay.
sending the article and receipt over right now.
okay, I will be, so maybe what we will do, let me see if I can get back into my email while I'm doing this.
So Lisa, just as an aside to you, while Penny's doing that, in the past, Tessa was doing drafts of the orders of condition because,
Which she really shouldn't be doing as a clerk.
right. So we'll have to take on that responsibility and
Okay.
assign people to put together drafts, or I will put together a draft. And then we'll do it that way. So
I just emailed over the affidavit and I emailed over the email I got. I forwarded the email I got from the Hampshire Gazette over to Conscom, which should have
Okay.
my receipt and the article in it.
I have them both.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
all right. Well, I'll make a motion that we have sufficient information to make a determination and we can close the public meeting. Is there a second?
I second.
Robin seconds. Okay, David,
Aye.
Defont, I, Harrington,
Aye.
Khan.
Hi.
Okay. All right, it's 7:48. We have an 8 o'clock public hearing, so maybe we can do this in 10 minutes.
The minutes, I mean, the determination.
Yeah, what do you think? Do you want to save that for afterwards, Penny? Your choice.
Well, I sort of have things scribbled out here. I need to work on it for just a second before it's.
Okay, well, we'll go on some other stuff and let's see what's back on our list here. The update for the Locks Pond Road culvert replacement. My understanding is that after we issued the extension, they've been held up because National Grid has not gotten out there to move the power lines, and the town administrator reached out to our state representative to try to put a little pressure on National Grid, and that was this week. I do not know whether there's been any movement about it.
Haven't seen anybody out there, so.
Yeah, so it's concerning because they're really losing time.
Right. I did also get an update from Matthew. Basically, let's see, he said he's aware the commission wants to do a site visit once the erosion control is in. He passed on the commission's concern to the contractor about the perched outlet on the bypass, the water bypass, the dewatering plan. And he also said they're waiting on having the pole moved by National Grid.
Okay. And can we ask him to find out when they're going to get us the revised plans?
I'll ask him again. I just heard from him, I think, yesterday.
Okay.
So he did say he had passed the concerns on to, I guess it's MAS Bridge that's doing the work.
Great. All right. Next on the agenda was, this was an item I was adding. I don't think it's on the agenda, was just to talk briefly about LWAC, because I know there was a recent LWAC meeting and there was a stormwater meeting discussion at the select board meeting last week. And I was not able to stay on the meeting. I had a conflict. So I did not hear the whole discussion. I don't know if Mary, if you'd like to, or if anybody else was there, wants to report in on it. Was it just Mary there? Was there any other commissioner there?
So the basics is that they feel that the LWAC should be able to deal with some of these issues. So it went back to the LWAC committee. They said that if necessary, they would also come meet with them to help them out. LWAC did meet, and right now that their concern is the first thing they're going to do is try to find source funding, grant writing. Their request back to this committee is if anybody that's on this committee could help them with a resource for that, because they're looking for some expert. They don't have expertise of that on their committee, but
with grant writing,
or even where would options for sourcing this be if we had to look to do that.
Can I ask what the acronym for LWAC is?
Lake Wyola Advisory Committee.
Thank you.
Which I did not realize was a town/lake resident committee before.
It's a town meeting. It's a town.
It's a town committee.
A town committee, right?
Yeah.
So they are looking into, and some emails have been going back and forth about setting up a subcommittee to start looking at this.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen a couple emails about what's the process to do that and what they would have to do.
Well, I wonder if maybe we could have Mark come to one of our meetings when Beth is going to be there and Janice, and maybe we could talk about, what support they need. I mean, I know that Janice, you know a fair bit about this, and I know Beth does as well. So.
Mm-hmm. I think the first place, if they haven't already, is to talk to the FERCog, to the Natural Resource Planner, because it sounds like there are 319 grants, which are planning grants for stormwater type stuff, which is this could be under stormwater, could be under climate change or something. And they would also know any sorts of new grants. It's probably going to have to be state money. That's the first place to look for this sort of thing. So the planner or someone in the FERCog office would, I would think, be able to give them at least some help in terms of the most common grants, deadlines for those, things like that. There might be a deadline this fall for one of those grants. It's hard for me to remember now, but there were two, one's planning and one's implementation, but there might be other things as well, like the climate resiliency. Has Shutesbury done the MVP, municipal vulnerability?
I think they're working on it now.
Yeah,
okay.
They finished that. We
it
qualified.
okay?
So Janice, can I connect you up with Mark Rivers?
Sure. Okay.
Okay. And then if we could, Mary might go ahead and invite him to one of our meetings to talk about that. He might maybe not the next meeting, but give him a chance. Several people were going out to try to gather more information. So a chance for him to.
I think that's what you want is Mark Rivers to work with you guys, and then you can point him in the direction of FERCog. You can get him going to DEP and DER. There's grant money out there. They don't need that much money to hire an engineer to do this stuff. They also might want to talk to the DCR engineer, Scott Campbell.
Yeah.
Somebody was contacting him to see.
Yeah, he's the one that did the original plan.
Yes, somebody has an assignment of trying to reach back to him.
I was talking to Mark Rivers last week, and he said that they had this thought that maybe they could find an engineering graduate student who wanted to do some project.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, people have also suggested UMass, and maybe somebody would be looking at the project. So there's somebody looking at some of those options too. So everybody kind of had an assignment to bring back some information. And my assignment was to see if somebody this committee could give him some direction where to go and ask the questions.
Yeah, I would say, those are really good suggestions so far that we've batted around. And I think that maybe he should come to a meeting in the next month. And make sure it's a time when when Beth is going to be here as well.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. It's 5 of 8. We've got some site visit follow-ups. Maybe we can take care of those quickly. Mary and I went to 70 Lake Drive, which is Mark Rivers' house, to look at a tree that's dying right on the lake. And it is dying. So we gave him a thumbs up to remove it. And Penny, have you located the form letter that we send out?
Lisa and I worked on that today. We were just waiting till this was discussed and written into the minutes before a letter was sent.
Yes. I didn't see anything controversial about the removing tree.
No.
Okay. So let's go ahead and issue that that letter. The other project is interesting at 104 Lake Drive. This is the Thompsons, and they're at the end. Their driveway is a low point at the end of the road, and there's been some significant erosion down a path that leads into a wetland, and there's probably a good 20 feet that's just very badly eroded, down to rocks and boulders. And then it kind of flattens out into a kind of a flatter area that's within the buffer zone of a stream, within the 100-foot buffer. There was some evidence of erosion of sand sediment pooling, but it was all pretty far from the edge of the water. I didn't think there was going to be any possible discharge into the actual stream. So what he wants to do is kind of armor up that steep slope with riprap and rock to kind of shore it up. And then talked about kind of resurfacing the trail in the area that's within the buffer zone. So Penny and I were looking at the exemptions, and I think because it is an unpaved path, walking path, it would be considered an exempt activity, a minor exempt activity under the Wetlands Protection Act, as long as he doesn't dig in it. What I said is, if he's just going to lay down some more gravel or trap rock, which that would be fine. But if he was going to start regrading things, then that would probably not be exempt.
Yeah, and he did say that he had no intention of regrading, so.
Well, he said, I'm going to smooth it out. It's like, well, smoothing things out is kind of like another word for grading, right? Hard to know. But anyway, it's far enough away from the water. I don't think that it's going to have an impact on anything. Because it's right, the area where he'd be working is right around the 100-foot mark. So he might be 10 feet into the buffer zone. It's a good ways away. So I think we can just tell him that is all exempt and he can go forward with his project. Okay, and so we have another building permit.
He also asked about the trees, taking down the trees.
And there were some trees he wanted to take down, some minor trees, that a couple that were dead and some smaller ones, and he's not gonna stump them. So I think that was fine.
So do you want this done in the form of a sort of a letter of agreement as well?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good
think it
idea.
makes sense to have something on record.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think just reaffirming that the work, any resurfacing that he's doing of his path within the buffer zone just will, not involve any regrading or digging or excavation.
Did you ask Mark Stinson about the exemption for a private path? The exemption, the minor activity is unpaved pedestrian walkways less than 30 inches wide for private use and, well, okay, less than 3 feet wide for public access and conservation property. So you can do it on private. Okay. that was
Yeah,
just Conservation. Okay,
That's why I thought it was exempt.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
It's small.
Okay.
Okay. So it's 8 o'clock. So why don't we go to the public hearing and then we'll come back to the other site visit that we have to schedule. So we need to open the continued public ANRAD hearing for ZU to Pratt Corner South. Hi, Maria.
Is Emily here?
I don't think
Yes.
she was,
Oh,
Yeah,
let
she
me-
just,
she just came on.
yeah, she's,
All right, well, I think you probably want to hear from her first anyway, because that's
Yep.
usually how we do these.
Hi, Emily.
Good evening, Miriam. Can everyone hear me okay?
yes.
Excellent. So I received the revised plans for the Pratt Corner South project from TRC, and I was able to opine to the commission in email that all of my comments have been addressed at this time. I also was able to submit to the commission draft copies of both an ORAD form 4A and draft finding.
And we just got those in the last couple days. Do we want to continue this to the next meeting so that we have time to digest this? Because technically we have asked for 2 weeks for for anything.
These are extremely minor edits that were made in the update.
Maria, before we go any further, this is Penny. I'd like to ask you one question. We did get the hard copies of the most recent iteration today. I can't find any way from the title page to distinguish the previous plans from the current plans. They're both dated September 20.
Look at note 1.
What?
Note number 1 has the date.
They both have dates.
In the notes section on the right under the legend pictures, note number 1 has the most recent updated date on it.
Okay, are you able to screen share that?
Sure, let me.
I don't have, I'm at home and the hard copy is in the office, and
They just
I
wrong.
sent you in an email, none of the commissioners have had a chance to look at this yet.
Right. I mean,
I'm opening
if
it.
there's
A second. There we go. Oh,
Penny, there isn't a digital copy, is there? We haven't got, did we get a digital copy of?
I have a digital copy. Hold on. I've got like 5 documents open. I'm just, I'm too old to be doing this many things at once.
You've been doing a fantastic job.
It does not feel like it.
I'm impressed.
You've been doing a great job. So this note right here on the plan, this is where we give you the full date, because both the one we sent earlier was also in September. It has an earlier date on it.
Can you scroll down to the bottom corner of the legend just so I can see the whole thing?
Yeah, what I was going by.
See, why
in
shouldn't
the-
it have?
In the little box down here where it says.
We only ever give you the month and the year, and for all of these, we have given you the full date up here in note 1.
Okay, it's confusing this time because we've gotten
2 in
sets
September.
in September.
Well, we did update this specifically to make it less confusing.
No, I understand that. I'm just thinking.
I know it. We don't
down the
usually have
line, keeping track of
that
what
many things in
becomes
one.
difficult. So have the commissioners had a chance to review Emily Stockman's documents? I know we just got them the other day.
I have not done much. I've started looking at it, but I didn't go in much depth. Try to find it even.
And I'm looking at these maps in front of me that I wasn't able to pick up until today, but I'm looking at my date and it says September 9. So I clearly grabbed the wrong thing off the table, but this was the only thing I saw.
Well, they came in this afternoon.
Yeah, they came in just before 1 o'clock, so they might not have been there yet, depending on.
Oh, it was right about 1 o'clock when I stopped.
Right, there are two stacks on the table. They look very similar.
Well, I guess I'm going there again tomorrow.
So I think what the commission needs to do is look at Emily's comments against the maps. To feel confident that everything is how you want it to be. At least somebody on the commission needs to do that. Not that I don't trust Emily, and I suspect everything, if Maria and Emily are in agreement on this, it is likely good.
Well, I'm happy to do it, but I have not had a chance to do it. So we would have to continue. If
And you guys can look at the draft orders and stuff too,
Yeah.
findings.
yeah, I mean, I'd like to take a look at what the last ORAD was that we issued.
Well,
Which
I can tell you that Emily based her findings and all of her information on the previous ORAD that was issued. So the
Yeah.
format should be all similar.
That is correct. Penny was very instrumental in helping me get a copy of the previous ORAD done by Tessa, because I wanted to have continuity with the formatting for the commission. So I did maintain that formatting.
Now I see on the draft ORAD, Emily, that you've got where somebody's highlighted the date. Was that because it had to be checked?
Yes, so that's an excellent point, Miriam, and thanks for bringing that up. The draft findings as well as the Form 4A were produced prior to receiving the most recent revision, just in anticipation of reviewing that and as requested by the commission that you receive a draft. So both on the findings, I have highlighted the date. I've also left that as a Word doc so that the commission can edit as you see fit. And you will also note that there are a number of blank spaces on the actual ORAD form 4A that will need to be completed, such as the date the public hearing is closed, the date of the issuance, the final site plan date, signatures. Those items will need to be completed.
Right. So I see what I'm seeing here is the wetland, the Form 4B and the draft findings. Is there some draft conditions somewhere?
There aren't conditions on this. They're just findings.
Okay.
So basically you're agreeing, the findings are that you are agreeing with the location of the wetlands as presented on the latest version of the maps.
Now, I recall with some of the other projects, we had a statement in the findings that the applicant would need to refresh the flagging if they were submitting a project.
That was in cases where there were very
Non-consecutive.
right, there were significant changes to those wetlands, things got combined and stuff that did not happen at this site.
Okay.
There are a couple of flags that are out of order because we pulled one. Like it might go from 120 to 122 somewhere, but there's not the significant confusion that was going on at those other sites.
Oh, she does have actually the language about renumbering. It says on the following condition, if a notice of intent is submitted, then current flags will be renumbered and replaced at the exact georeference location in consecutive order.
So Miriam, I did keep that language in there, but I highlighted it and I did add the comment that in my opinion, the majority of the flags for this particular site are consecutively numbered,
Right.
with a few, removed flags or added flags here and there, but those have been specifically called out further down in the findings where the boundaries are actually approved with the flagging sequence.
Right.
So my comment was that I didn't feel that it was necessary to have that language on this ORAD, but certainly kept it in there for the commission to discuss.
Looks like under number 3, there's a parentheses missing. Couple halfway down. And red figures pages 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, flags 2 to 46.
Miriam, do you want to show what you're looking at for everyone instead of the plans? Would that be easier? I can stop sharing the plans if you.
What do people want to do?
Be able to see the document that Miriam is talking about.
That would be useful.
Okay. Right. So I can share. Let me see if I can find it. I think this is it. Okay. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Get rid of everybody's face. Get out of there. Okay. So I think I just added that there was right here a parenthesis missing. Parenthesis. I have not had a chance to go through the map and look at these comments. So, I'm relying on Emily's judgment, which I trust completely, but just a matter of process. I think it's good for us to do our own homework. You want me to scroll down? These are all the delineations, and you've got to, by the way, the mapped 100-foot buffer is areas, and the isolated wetland is jurisdictional under the bylaw. The two wetlands, MJ6 and MJR7. And then Dean Brook is designated as a cold fisheries resource. The area is located within a mapped outstanding resource water. And there's a mapped potential vernal pool. And there is a TRC identified vernal pool based on obligatory breeding species. Any comments or questions? Janice, Don, you guys have any questions, comments?
I don't know if I got the latest plans. The ones I got were earlier in the week and I didn't notice any since then. I was just looking today at emails since then. again, you know, I trust Emily's stuff, and on the other hand, I think it is good for the commission to be able to read through this so that they know what they're voting and signing on, whether
Yeah.
you do it now or you know, another time. But if you just got the maps, you know, you probably should look at them one more time. But that's up to you guys.
Yeah, I agree that the designation as a cold water fishery and the outstanding resource water area is associated with the Atkins Reservoir in this case, and that there's an active interest by other state agencies. So when this, if this were to go forward as an NOI, I mean, I think you guys have dotted your I's and crossed your T's here. That looks good.
All right, well, I think we need to make a decision as commission whether we want to close the hearing based on Emily's findings, or whether we want to take the time to review the maps on our own and close the hearing at the next meeting.
You know, once you close the hearing, you can't request any more changes.
Right.
I'd like to take the time, if we could, I haven't had time to review the additional information, and I would appreciate that if there's flexibility of the schedule to do so.
Well, we can do that. And I guess I feel inclined to support that as well.
I do too.
Okay.
I clearly don't have the newest maps.
All right.
I would really like the opportunity to just show you what the differences are between the new maps and the maps that you got a couple weeks ago.
The problem I find, Maria, is that, you know, it means moving back and forth between looking at this draft findings, which I have not had a
I'm
chance.
not trying to keep you from the decision that you've clearly all already made. We're all here.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be able to just point out the spots, because there are literally 4 tiny adjustments that got made. So honestly, if you take the old maps and the new maps and you try to compare them, you might not be able to find what changed.
Yeah. Well, that would be great. That would be great. And I would, you know, absolutely, please go ahead and share that with us. I think what I was saying is that I really want to be able to look at the map and look at the findings and make sure I'm comfortable with the findings before we close the public hearing, because we're not going to be able to change things much after the fact. But I think that sharing the map and having you walk us through it would be great. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay.
And if you want to take over, that would be great.
Okay. So this is the overview page. This doesn't look a whole lot different from what you had before. As we discussed earlier, the final map date is in the notes. And the other edit that got made on all pages is that we had misspelled Natural Heritage Endangered Species Program. We swapped one of the letters. That has been fixed. On the series itself, That's page 6. Like 410 here was not correctly plotted before, now correctly plotted. It didn't translate properly when we exported it from GIS into the PDF, but it's showing correctly now. On page 15, between flags 118 and 119, the line segment between those flags was crooked. Not crooked. The next page, on page 16, you couldn't distinguish between the stream flags 135 and 135.1. The flag point for 135 was not plotted correctly before. It's now plotted correctly, and we've added a lead from 135 to the flag so that you know which flag is which, because there are a lot of flags there. So that should make it easier to line everything up. That's what changed.
That's really helpful. Thank you, Maria, for walking through that with us. It helps me orient to what we're looking at, and just spending some time with this and the comments. I appreciate you walking through that with us.
Yeah, the changes were so minor that I wanted to make sure everyone could find them.
Yep, that's helpful.
Yes.
I don't know, do we lose Miriam?
Miriam, I'm here.
Okay.
So let's make a decision about what we're going to do in terms of the public hearing.
So this is Penny. I'm gonna say one last time, has the commission looked at Emily's comments against the map? And are you comfortable with what she's done?
So personally of our continuing and being able to have the time to, go through her comments and look at the draft conditions as well, so that we're ready to go. It just has not, everything came in a little too late for there to be time for me to go through it all. But I don't know how other people feel. We should try to maybe do a straw poll and then we can take a vote.
I feel the same way. But
Okay.
Me too.
All right. So I will make a motion that we continue the public hearing to hopefully our next meeting, or would we have time in our schedule next week in October? The next meeting?
I am not aware at this point that we have anything on the schedule for the October meeting.
Great. Okay. So I move that we continue the public hearing to the next meeting, which is October, help me out here. When is it? October 7th?
Yes. No,
And
14th,
maybe-
October 14th, sorry.
Is that right?
14th.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
14th.
Okay, to the 14th at 7:30?
I'll second that.
Okay, David,
Aye.
Defont, I, Harrington,
Aye.
and Khan.
Aye.
Thank you for your patience with us, Maria. We will get, this will end. We will get there.
Fingers crossed.
No, it has to end.
No, thanks for having us on tonight. And thanks for letting me show you where the updates were.
Yeah, it's good.
That was
And-
super helpful, by the
Yes.
way.
And thank you, Emily, for doing these drafts for us. It's very, very helpful. I want to look them through. I'm sure they're perfect, but I just want to do my own due diligence.
No, certainly I understand. I used to look over Tessa's, and I am not insulted in the least that the commission wants to look over mine. And I do believe with the past filings, you, as a commission, you took your time to go through the final plans against my comments. So I understand what you wanting to proceed in that fashion.
You're on mute, Miriam.
Yeah. Thank you for noticing that. While Maria's still here and maybe while Emily's here, I thought maybe we should go over this draft letter. And I'm trying to locate it, trying to see where I put it on my desktop. So it's just disappearing here. Draft letter. Okay, here it is. Can I screen share it?
Yeah, let me stop. Have it back.
Okay. Let me try to find it. Okay. It's not too involved, so I don't think it's very controversial, but certainly, you know, I want to get everybody's input. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so dated it for today and addressing it to TRC on behalf of Coles. And I believe I have the right Mass DP file numbers. I want to double check this with Penny, but that's what I was able to pick up for these three ANRADs. To whom it may concern, the Shutesbury Conservation Commission herein confirms that the commission is no longer able to reach a determination regarding the above referenced ANRAD submissions due to a loss of eligible voting commissioners. On June 28th, the commission was notified by the Massachusetts Division of Open Government that a voting quorum for our board is 3 members regardless of vacancies on the commission. Per Mass General Law, Chapter 39, Section 23D, a commissioner can miss no more than one session of an adjudicatory hearing in order to remain qualified to vote on the matter. Due to the duration of the public hearings for the above ANRADs and turnover in commission membership, the commission no longer has a quorum of entitled commissioners to deliberate and issue an order of resource area delineation for these projects. Because the commission lacked a qualified quorum at the time of the issuance of the ORADs for the Baker Road and Pratt Corner West ANRADs, those ORADs are not valid. Our town council is advised that all 3 of these ANRADs should be resubmitted under new Mass DEP file numbers should the applicants wish to proceed with the resource area delineations. These are unfortunate circumstances, and the commission remains committed to working toward a speedy resolution. It is the commission's understanding that the applicants do not plan to resubmit the Baker Road ANRAD at this time. And then we would send copies to all the peoples. So.
Yeah, the only thing I don't know whether it matters or not is including some additional nuance or clarification that an ORAD was never issued for the Montague site.
That's true.
And that it will need to be withdrawn before it can be resubmitted, but that everything else in there, my understanding of what's going on.
I think that's reasonable. Say no ORAD has yet been issued for the Montague Carver site. That project will need to be withdrawn and resubmitted for ORAD determination for an ORAD. How's that sound?
I'm fine with that. If when you all finalize this and send it to DEP, I'd appreciate if you sent us a copy just so
Oh yeah, Yeah, that's your, it's addressed to you. Should we say withdrawn with prejudice or without prejudice? I mean, I always get confused which.
I think it's without.
I think without, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, without prejudice.
meaning you can do it again. If it were with prejudice, you wouldn't be able to do it for like 3 years or something.
Right. Right. Now, the only thing, and the reason for ceasing Mark Stinson and Mass DP is just so they have some record that the Baker Road ORAD is in a, gray area. It's an area of uncertainty. But
Yeah, I mean, either they will decide to change their minds and resubmit, or they won't. And after 3 years, no one will care anyway.
it won't matter, right?
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Any other pieces to this? Janice, do you have any thoughts?
No, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I haven't looked at it till now, but I think you cover it well and without getting into the nitty gritty details.
Yeah. I did have a conversation with Becky Torres about it, and she agreed that writing a letter isn't mandatory, but it's just good practice because, we're grouping it all in one letter, but would have a copy of this in each of the files for each of the ANRADs just to document it.
Do you feel you need to CC a copy to Becky or the select board or anyone or not? I don't know how involved they are, whether she'd want one for her paper file or something like that, or electronic file.
I mean, I guess.
I don't know, it's up to you.
It probably is appropriate.
Where is it? Rebecca Torres. Okay. And so we'll send this by snail mail, I guess. And Penny, you have the addresses for this?
I do. I just a quick heads up. I'm not here next week. I'm leaving town on Monday morning and won't be back until the following Saturday. But I don't know that it's terribly urgent, and I can. And Lisa may be able to do this. If she can't figure it out, I'm happy to help her.
Okay. Yes. I mean, I can help. I can, it's mostly the addresses. And if you want, Maria, we can send you a digital copy as well.
Oh yeah, digital copy would be great. That's easier for me to file.
Right. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve this letter as amended. Do I have a second?
Second, Mary.
David?
Aye.
Stefan? Aye. Harrington?
Aye.
And Khan?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so where are we? What else do we have on our hit parade?
I think we talked about the various site visits. There is one new site visit to schedule. Well, let me step back for a minute. Has the commission decided to request that TRC resubmit Montague Carver before proceeding? Did you come to a resolution on that?
I think
that's a good point. That
working on it, that we don't have a choice there.
I think they have to. So
I would like someone to follow up with Mark about what's actually supposed to happen, but
well, we're sort of in new territory here, so it's
I understand. That's why I'm wanting.
I've never been part of a hearing that took 18 months before. It's all new, and
I'll reach out to Mark, and what we're wanting to know is, how do you withdraw the ANRAD?
No, well, my question was, did you make a decision on what you want to do? But then the second, more sort of technical piece of this is that when I went into the office today, the check for Emily Stockman's peer review was in the mailbox. And so my question is, what do I do with that check for the short term? Maria, do you want it back? Do you want us to hold on to it? I mean, what do you think the timing will be?
I have a meeting with our client tomorrow.
Sorry.
So no, it's actually good timing because like I don't have an answer right this second. But it means that I have a scheduled opportunity to talk with them and get some more concrete details out of them about what they want us to do in terms of order and schedule of things.
Okay. Well, just let the commission know the check is in a hiding place for now, a safe hiding place until we get resolution on what to do with it. And then the other thing I will say to you, I'm not sure if you tuned in at the very beginning of the meeting. Our new clerk, Lisa Stratford, has started. And so she will, when you send things to Concom starting this next week, she's the one who will be receiving them. So best
So
of
I should say hi Lisa instead of hi Penny.
Yes, you say hi, Lisa.
So while especially during this orientation period, Maria, and I guess this will go for Emily as well, just CC me as well on the email chain, because I am getting the inbox forwarded to me, but I don't see the outgoing mail. So I don't see what the responses are. And I'll work it out with Lisa, if I'm responding or if she's going to respond, but it may be that I'll be responding to some of this stuff. So, but
Well,
Maria, you're going to let us know.
Places for the check. So
yeah,
I'll get you in update, but
that sounds good. But the question about Mark, to get back to the question about Mark is, your question is what, Maria, for Mark?
Well, I understand why the peer reviewer is uncomfortable with like just how things are right now. It's a very bizarre situation. And I am curious, because we had discussed it before, about what is the appropriate and clean way to do this, if he had a recommendation on whether or not it was appropriate to finish doing the field review while we have the weather, which was part of why we had requested to do things that way, or if it really is more appropriate to do things the other way. I'm concerned that if we try to resubmit that ANRAD now, because of the lead time to re-notify abutters and wait for another meeting and stuff, that we will miss the weather and have to wait for the winter again. And I don't think anyone's planning to leave the commission again, but part of this was that we didn't really want to resubmit until we were pretty sure that it wasn't going to take a long time to get through the rest.
Right.
But
So
you have all the pieces now. It should be pretty easy to resubmit.
But Penny, there's additional review that has to happen. And while I hope that it's not the extensive changes that happened the first time, I'm reasonably confident that it's not. We don't know how long that field review is going to take.
Right, that's true.
So that's the concern. We had hoped to finish getting the field review done.
Right.
And I'm just curious. I haven't been through this situation before. I know it sounds like basically not bad. So I'm wondering if Mark has seen similar situations.
I don't think he has. Honestly, I mean, I think this is kind of like been a very new circumstance. And I'm not sure what he can advise, because the bottom line is, we have to respect Emily's position. And so that's just what it is.
I'm not asking anyone to change that.
Right. So I don't know that we have a different course of action available to us.
Right. I'm just, in terms of timing and stuff, and related to Penny's question about the check.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the actual proposal for the additional field work that needs to be done isn't going to change. The only thing that would really change on it is the reference to a file number and the ANRAD submittal date. So if we can get that information, the resubmittal, done quickly, if our client is okay with that because they have other projects that we're doing with them, and some things are higher priority to them than others. But if they were to say, yes, go ahead, get it submitted as soon as possible so that we can try to get the review done during the field season.
Right.
I don't really see a reason why we would have to send a new check in, as long as it's, you know, within a reasonable time frame. If our client is more interested in advancing some other things before working more on this one, then it might be better for everyone if we resubmitted in March. And if that were happening, then we'd say, yes, please send us the check back, because we're going to have to send you a new one because it will.
Yeah. So I think that's something you'll have to figure out with your client, you know, where this is on their priority list.
An update on after I get to talk to them tomorrow.
Because I hear what you're saying completely about how long things take, and then we're into December, and you know, then it's dependent on snowfall and snow cover. We had the same thing going on last fall. I think I remember there was questions about some field review. Wasn't there some late field review last year?
If your next meeting isn't until mid-October, I just feel like that's a very limited amount of time to be able to do things. If you're going to require any updated materials from the reviewer. I have my own personal feelings on whether or not that should be needed, because like it's substantially the same as what's already been approved, but unless we have some sort of guarantee that we'd be able to basically hit the ground running right after that meeting, I'm concerned about how long it would take. And
well, I mean, between now and the mid-October, that second week in October, that's probably not enough time for the new ANRAD to be submitted. Is that enough time?
I'm looking at how many weeks it is. That's 1, 2,
3 weeks.
3 weeks. So you know, we have authorization to do everything. If we got it to you by the 30th, then that would be fantastic. But I do have to check with our client tomorrow if that's the route they want us to try to take, or if they would rather just wait until the spring.
Okay. Right. So you will let us know.
Yes.
Which way they want to go.
Yeah. To your question about Mark Stinson at DEP, I do, if you don't want to ask him about the situation, I'm happy to do that, just because I'm curious. As I said, I'm not trying to change what anyone's doing. I'm just.
Oh, no, I'm happy to talk to him. I just want to make sure I understand what you're asking, like what you want me to ask him, because above and beyond what he's already said. I mean.
Well, when he came and talked with us at the meeting, we largely talked about the OREDs that had already been issued. We really didn't address what was going on with Montague, because it is in this bizarre limbo place. So I was really just curious what he had to say about that, or if he had seen that at anywhere else. I'm pretty sure that for withdrawal that we just have to send you a letter that says we're withdrawing this. But if you.
Right, and if we don't issue an ORAD on that file number, then it's out of DP's. If we make no decision, and then it's out of DP's
if
court,
you
so to speak.
Talk to him about, you know, is there anything specific that we have to do in the withdrawal other than send you a letter saying that that's what we're going to do?
Okay, I will absolutely ask him that, Maria, and I will send you an email and give you an update, whatever, and I'll share with the commission whatever I learn. And, you know, if you want to talk to him yourself, you're welcome to do that, but I will do that and get back to you.
Thanks.
Okay.
And as discussed, I'll get back to you too about tomorrow's conversation.
Yeah. You know, for the Pratt Corner West, you know, our hope would be that it would be just a one meeting thing. We'll be all done. There's nothing to debate here, or I think we already know where the delineations are. We just need to be able to review it all and vote.
Yeah, no, I don't have any concerns about that. I'm just trying to make sure that if we are going to try to resubmit Montague quickly, then I need to make sure that I understand what I'm doing for this withdrawal, because that has to happen first.
Right. And so I think, you know, I guess it'll just be, we'll have a superseding ORAD.
No.
For Pratt Corner West.
It's
because
not,
we already issued one.
It's not superseding. The other one is just not valid. That's
right.
It has a new file number. It's not related to the old file number, so it's just a regular.
Well, I mean, superseding in the sense that it would be the one that is referred to, and it would hold sway as opposed to the earlier one.
Yes. No. I'm sorry. Sometimes when DEP gets involved, you can have a superseding order of conditions.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
use
the word
thing.
Okay. All right. So I think we've figured this out as much as we can about, I think we have to make a decision about Montague Carver. I think there's a question before us to, am I correct?
I don't think there's really anything.
Wasn't there, Penny, weren't you asking for a vote from us? Or were you not? I thought you were. She's still there.
Penny, you're muted.
I think Emily's trying to talk too.
Oh, gosh, okay.
Penny was muted.
Oh, God, I don't understand this. We have like random muting going on.
Penny, were you suggesting that we have a vote on the Montague Carver?
Well, I'm thinking just to make things clear in the minutes.
Yes.
Either you vote or you just state that as a group you decided, based on Emily Stockman's recommendation, that that's what you were going to do. But I do think it needs to be clearly stated in the minutes.
Well, we're waiting to hear from Maria about what they want to do. So I think, you know, we've already voted on the decision to tell the applicant and TRC that they need to resubmit without prejudice. The question about the peer review, I think the minutes should reflect that Emily Stockman wishes to wait until there's a new file number for Montague Carver before proceeding with the peer review. And Maria from TRC is going to find out from their clients what their time frame for that would look like, whether, you know, so we can figure out whether the check should be returned to TRC or stay in its super hidden place. And hopefully be found again. So I think in the next week or so, Maria, you'll get back to us by email and confirm what you want to do, how you are going to proceed. Give us a heads up.
Right. I'm going to give you an update on kind of order of what I think is supposed to be happening with the various resubmittals.
Right. And so I don't know that there is a decision that we have to make because it's all sort of outside of our control right now. We'll wait to find out what we need to do with the check. And Emily will wait until there's been a resubmission before she begins the peer review process. Emily, do you need to give us a new proposal because it'll be referencing a different file number?
Yes, as Maria mentioned, there would be some quick revisions to the existing proposal just to
Okay,
correctly cite the permit at hand.
okay. Well, we'll keep you posted on this process so that you can revise that as quickly as possible once we get the information.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have other business?
Well, we need to
We have to
settle on
close the hearing, right?
well, you
we-
need to, which hearing?
I think your whole hearing, we already continued the press.
We already continued, so that's already been continued.
So I think for the request for determination, you closed the hearing earlier, right?
All right, we have to do the,
You haven't
the order.
settled on conditions, and there is one site visit to schedule before you all go your separate ways this evening.
okay. All right, so we can be done with Maria. Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Emily.
You're welcome. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Good night.
You too.
Okay, let's take care of the RDA.
Okay, let me see
Penny-
if I can figure out how to share this. Be patient, everyone.
It's fine.
Why is this not showing up? I think I got it. Just a sec.
There you go.
Is it showing along
Yep.
with everything else on my desktop? Okay. So do people just want to read through it and let me know if they have comments, suggestions, or corrections? And you do need to still vote on whether you're going to issue a negative determination category 3. So
Right.
Can you make it a little larger? At least
Just
on my screen.
just enlarge it.
yeah,
It's hard to see.
Just enlarge the whole document, like stretch it out.
okay.
Yeah, that helps a little bit.
Let
Zoom
me-
in a little bit.
just a minute. Sorry, I'm so bad at this, everyone.
Better than I am.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's great.
Ah, yes.
Yay me.
Yay.
So I added a couple of findings, which I think are significant in this particular case, since there's no well and no septic system.
What about a site to inspect erosion controls?
That usually is stated in the cover letter that goes with this, but I can certainly add it. Let me see. Let me. How's that?
Good.
Under findings, do we need to, I know that the WPA form says this, but do we need to restate that we don't believe we don't find that the project will have an adverse impact?
No, I mean, frankly, we've rarely put findings in determinations of applicability. I only did it because this one is unique in that there is currently no septic or well, so it seemed somewhat significant, but not critical.
Okay. Well, it looks good to me.
The only other thing I would say is under one, the erosion control consists of a compost sock. It could, I think we said it could either be a straw or a compost
You're right.
sock. So I would just put straw before it, because a compost sock, you could have a compost sock just without hay, or you could have a straw, whether it's a wattle or we call it a sock.
Can I just call it an erosion sock that does not include hay?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could use the compost, they could use the straw, they can use
Okay.
whatever.
Okay. People good with that?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Somebody want to make a motion? I'll make a motion that we find a negative determination number 3. If you want to show them what the what that is.
Just a minute. Let me get to.
So the work, there it is. With the special conditions as written. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, David?
Aye.
DeFont, aye. Harrington?
Aye.
And Khan?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. So may I sign on all of your behalves, except for Beth, who's not here?
Yes, you may.
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
And Lisa, I'm not sure if you're planning on going in tomorrow morning. I think I will go in at some time to try and get this out before I leave next week. If you want to pick a time and meet with me to do that, just so you've gone through that process.
Sure. Do you want to say noon tomorrow?
Sure, noon works.
Great.
And it shouldn't take more than, well, as you know, things never go as you plan, but it shouldn't take very long. Okay. Then.
We have to schedule a site visit.
Right. I'm going to stop sharing. And so just so you know, the site visit is associated with a building permit. It's to replace, it was the language on it was a little confusing. It's doors and footings associated with an existing house. And when I looked at the map, I did not see any wetlands near the site. It's on Ames Haven Road.
They're my new next door neighbors.
Oh, are they? Do you live on Ames Haven?
I'm at 17 Ames Haven.
Oh, well, so you should probably recuse yourself from the site visit.
Except, well, I'll be gone next week.
Okay, well, there you go.
But I have done a lot of hiking around there. Your preliminary assessment matches my own experience.
Yeah, I know there are wetlands more than 100 feet, I believe, off to the west from what I saw.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a map somewhere printed out and I'll share that with people. So are there at least 2 people available? And I will just say to the group, I know many of you are retired and can meet during the day, but I fear sometimes that it excludes Scott and Beth. So I would try to consider that.
Well, for next week, I'm in Michigan, so I won't be anywhere close.
Okay.
All right. Beth isn't here right now, so.
But typically she can't do it before 5.
Yeah.
And I will tell you at some point, we've always resorted to doing these on the weekends in the winter when days are really short. So.
Right, that's coming soon.
For that down the line.
So next week, mean, the Wednesday, I could possibly do a 5:30 on the 29th, if that gives us enough time. I have a 7 o'clock historical commission meeting, but would that work?
I could do that if that's
So it's 27.
29. You just said Wednesday, right?
That, it's 27 Ames Haven Road is what I meant.
What was the time?
5:30?
Yeah, that's what. 5:30?
I'll have to check. That might be a little late for me, but it sounds like there are two of you that can go. But I will get back via email confirming if I'm free.
Okay.
And I will show Lisa how to contact the homeowner.
And who is the homeowner?
The last name is Coffin, Cofnfin.
Okay.
I think it's Cynthia and Joe.
Okay. I think you're right. I saw Cynthia on the building permit. I recall now.
And I will let the commission know. Well, I've CC'd them about the 30th, trying to move that time to 12 for the DP 35 South Rural Drive site visit.
Okay. And I just want to confirm I can do that September 30th at noon. It's just this most recent one that I have to check.
Okay. So Mary, you're available on the 30th, and Robin, you're available.
Yep.
Okay, so we got it. And I think that's good. Okay.
So Miriam, you'll be in touch with David Cameron about that? and
Yes,
make sure that
I
all
will.
happens. Okay, great.
Yes, I will. I'll respond to that. And I think that is all we have.
Yeah, let me just skim over one more time. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Nope, I think you guys did a great job.
Okay, great.
So did you.
What?
Well, I muddled through one more time.
Well, we're gonna miss you, Penny, when you bail on us.
Don't worry, I'll still be around because
Okay.
I have some things to bring before the commission having to do with the various CPA projects that I have up my sleeve. So
All right, sounds good.
the soonest will be looking at language for a sign for the top of the lake park.
Nice. Okay, so before we close, Lisa, I just wanted to confirm a time when I can touch bases with you on Monday. You're going to be in at 2, right? Is that right, Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
I was muted.
Okay.
I'll be in at 2.
Why don't you give, well, do you want me to send you a link?
Sorry, you sort of blipped out.
Do you want to do, can I send you a Zoom link to the Concom?
Sure.
Okay. All right, sounds good. You'll just sign in as the land use clerk, but I'll send the Zoom meeting. Okay, great.
All right.
We're adjourning
All right.
at 9:04.
At 9:04. Thank you, everybody. Great. And
Hey.
welcome, Lisa.
Thank
We're,
you.
we're happy to have you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
We'll
Good.
try not to scare you off.
Okay.
All right.
bye,
Good night,
everyone.
everybody.
Good night.